game number 3 between Sigrun versus rxdg. And rxdg is the on Team AoV, and Sigrun is on multitasking wikis. So you ready?
Yep. And I'd just like to point out, multitasking Ruskies would be a completely different team.
So with that, Wookiee Team League Week 1 cast between AoV versus multitasking Wookiees. Match number 3. We'll start right now with yours truly, KoreanUsher and Qikz. Countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, activate.
Alright. And I'll select the call for here. On the top left, we have an orange Protoss by the rxdg representing Team AoV.
And then in the top right, in the 2 o'clock position, 1 o'clock position, we do have the purple Zerg, who is Vigamox, also known as Sigrun.
And it seems like SCC Falls actually observed this game live, as well as
Hamtaro
Adun,
which is a very clever name. I like the pun.
Oh man, Hamtaro. Oh, have you watched Hamtaro as a kid?
I didn't.
You didn't,
but I know about it.
You know, that was my childhood. You know, I ever since I watched the anime as a kid, it wasn't even as a little kid. It was early teenagerhood. I thought of getting a hamster as a pet, but my parents told me no.
I had a hamster.
You had a hamster?
Yeah.
Did you feed him?
His name was Harry.
Harry. Did you feed him sunflower seed?
I think he was fed like the little hamster pellets, but I was really young when we had him, so I can't really remember. My main pet was cats. I just like to use my power as a caster to point out cats are in fact better than dogs. Deal with it. But yeah.
Alright, it's been confirmed. Kids have confirmed that cats are better than dogs, according to his opinion. And here we see Forge First by rxdg.
Yeah, Forge First, and it looks like a Hatch First from Sigrun as well. She's actually sending out two drones here because the probe is going to be very annoying for her. But as soon as that probe goes down, she will get that hatchery.
Right.
Looks like the pool has actually gone up, so in the end, her Hatch First has gone to
12
hatch.
hatch. Yeah. And there's the hatchery. That's the got the Vigamox got the space to get the hatchery up.
Yeah, the interesting thing about rxdg here is his scout was quite late. It wasn't late, but if he'd have got into the main a little bit faster, he would have seen that there was no pool, and he could have even gone Nexus first here, which would have put him in an incredible position.
Now, I'm just curious how much of this PvZ will carry from the last game, if there's any momentum between the two matches based on the team. I mean, I'm pretty sure the 1v1s were played at the same time, so or it's also possible that it could be they watch each other reps before they play the next match. But I could see this as a very different PvZ just by the opening right now.
Yeah, so I mean the opening from rxdg is pretty similar. So in
and there's a third hatch that Vigamox just went for straight up.
Yeah, so they're going for a third hatch on an extra base. It is incredibly far away. Sniper Ridge is actually quite a big map, so it's going to take a long time for the Zealots to actually get over there. And especially when they get up to Lurkers, they're going to be able to put Lurkers on that ridge, and that base will be perfectly fine.
Oh, and rxdg actually going for where the third hatch is. He's going to scout it.
Yeah, so he's actually scouted this hatchery, but there's not too much that he can do, knowing that they opened with Forge Fast Expand. Now, if rxdg wanted to be clever here, he could actually try and cannon rush that base, which probably wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah.
There
It
is.
does require a lot of minerals.
They don't
for
know
that.
how many Zerglings are out at the moment. I mean, there's only 2 Zerglings, so there's one outside of his main, just checking that nothing leaves, and one just chasing the probe. He does actually have. Sigrun does actually have speed now, and they're going up to there. So
Yep, he's going.
pretty
He's going for
standard
speed cut.
PvZ so far.
Yep, and the Zealot is out. He's making rxdg. That's like a tongue twister, actually, for me.
Yeah.
More Zealots are being made right now. And Stargate happening in the main base.
Yeah, so both sides are just going for an incredibly standard PvZ.
But one thing to note is that Vigamox have not really produced any Zerglings, except for those two, one for the worker, one to scout. Vigamox, the Zerg, just went full on drones, full on macro, up until this point. No other Zerglings until just now, and we see Spire Tech going on, so we could see a possible 3-hatch Mutalisk build here.
This comes down entirely to the fact that they've had perfect scouting information since the very beginning of the game. There's been an overlord in the main of rxdg. They've known exactly when the Stargate's coming out, they've known how many gateways there are, they've known there's only been one cannon, and only one gateway, and only a few Zealots have come out, so there's not been any real reason to build any units, so it's given them the ability to afford to just be as greedy as possible. They've droned up most of their bases now,
There's
and
another
only now
hatch
we'll start,
in
they'll
natural.
start adding units on.
And there's 3 3 Zealots going into the natural. There is some Zergling, but there's no defense.
I mean, it's highly unlikely that these Zealots are going to do too much damage, but they are in a very good position up against the gas and in between the hatchery. So with good control, these 3 Zealots could take out a lot of Zerglings.
But Zergling reinforcement has come and tried to surround the Zealots. Let's see who gets a better micro here. And it seems like the Zealots are trapped.
Zealot's a trap, but he does a very good job here of pulling the Zealot behind
This is pretty good position right here for the Zealot. 5 kills for that one Zealot.
Yeah, 5 kills for the Zealot. He's probably getting it, only barely missed out on another one.
And we saw 2 probes going towards the natural. We saw 2 probes.
It looks like there's been a miss rally here on one of the nexuses.
Another probe, actually.
There's actually been 3 probes that have been sent. 2 of them actually died, and all the lings there actually just dealt with that pretty well. So, and one good thing to point out is Sigrun is actually playing for their team's sake here. They are 2-0 down, so this game is incredibly important that they win.
That's right, because if I'm trying to figure out who's who again. If rxdg
Scourge are coming in though. The Corsairs haven't been moved very fast. One Scourge does go out. The Corsairs do manage to turn away, but they do lose. rxdg does lose one.
Does snipe a Korsar.
Yeah.
Now if
it looks like there's some SimCity going down on the 3rd now as well.
Dark Templar is now out, so we may see what the Dark Templar may do. But he actually goes to take out the Zerglings, and the Zerglings were late to response. 5 kills, 5 Zerglings kills from that one Dark Templar.
The other very important thing to note is if he can get down to that 3rd base quick enough with his Corsairs, he did lose one, but I believe he should still have one left alive. Although, maybe not. It looks like the Scourge actually did catch that Corsair. One's popped out now. Right. Unlike in the last game where there was two Stargate Corsair, though, he does take a while to rebuild all his
that Dark
Corsairs
Templar, he won't be able to go into the 3rd base because there are 3 Overlords
3 Overlords, and now, interestingly enough, because there are so few Corsairs, Sigrun actually chooses not to make that a spore colony, just another sunken, and it turns out that it will be actually quite a good choice here. The Corsair does come in, but it's going to take a long time to kill the 3 Overlords.
And there's the Scourge
pop out directly on top. The extra sunken here, it looks like the Zealots, seeing they couldn't actually do anything in the main due to the Zerglings and the one sunken, are actually going to move down to the 3rd bay, try and put a little bit of pressure on, but they do turn around when they realize there may be a little bit too much Zerg there.
And High Templars are out for rxdg. He has 3 High Templars at the natural. We do see a 1-up attack upgrade that's happening right now. so he may try to go for a push sometime soon, because he also probably do need to secure a third base. That Scourge was able to scout the whole base actually, because there was no Korsars or any air defense.
Yeah, so I mean, at the moment, rxdg is actually going up 6 gateways. He doesn't necessarily need to get a base right away, because he is still in a good position 2 base against 3, and if he moves up this ramp, which it looks like he's doing with this probe now, this base is actually going to be quite easy for him to defend, especially with some storms on that little ridge there. There's a very small choke actually going into that. One storm covers nearly the entire thing, and rxdg Sigrun has still played quite passively, really. They're now just adding on a lot of Hydras,
right.
But it's given Protoss the ability to just try and take this third base.
A lot of Hydralisks, but there are Zealots going into the third base. Hydralisks trying to defend. Mucilis are out as well.
Yeah, the Corsairs are in trouble again. There's only 2 Corsairs, and they do both actually go down to the Scourge again.
Oh.
He doesn't have any other real anti-air other than the 2 cannons, one in his natural and one in his main. But they're right in the corner, so there's not really any units to actually deal with the Scourge. The Zealots are running around. They've forced the Hydralisks back into the base. But the Zealots look like they're going to move down and try and do something against this
Hydra's trying to go for the main attack, try to take down the cannons, and then get a freebie for those probes.
Yeah, so the Mutalisks are actually in the base, and this is actually going to be incredibly difficult. He does bring up Storm, but he's going to storm on top of his own probes. A load of probes go down in that Storm.
There's more Storms happening here.
Stargate. Another Storm does go down, but there's no anti-air here other than this Storm. He does go for this Archon, and there is another Archon there. The Mutalist that is left.
All the Sockets go down at the third base, but Hydralisk came in just in time to defend this, but Zerg has lost some drones as well.
Yeah, so Zerg didn't take nearly as much damage there as the Protoss did. The Protoss has very few probes now. They're actually transferring their probes back into their main now. They've got 1 Corsair back up, but it's not going to be long before the Scourge get back there and clean those up. The Mutalisks are forced to run away, though. They are very low on health, and it's going to be very difficult for him to... He'll probably go back to where all his Hydras are. He'll be fine. So people in chat from rxdg's team are actually calling rxdg the Cero Slayer, so I imagine he must have beat Cero on ladder at some point. But Sigrun is in an incredibly powerful position here, charging with Hydralisks across the map up towards the third base, which is very lightly defended. They actually sniped all of the High Templars.
No, he might actually go for the natural directly. He's sending his units towards the natural, but there is a lot of Zealots and Archons.
There is a DT actually attacking the Hydralisks.
Yes,
behind.
There's the Overlord, so they can see the DT, but the Hydralisks are on the run because the Protoss army is too strong for these Hydralisks alone.
Yeah, so we actually see the Protoss does have +1 attack, and while the Hydralisks do have +1 range as well, this amount of Hydras against this amount of Zealots isn't enough. rxdg could actually go for a bust down here on that bottom left base. It looks like Sigrun's actually tried to get up the fourth base there as well, but there may not actually be enough defense here. He has his Mutalisks, but this 1 Archon can do a hell of a lot of damage to the Mutalisks if they're not careful, and there's only actually 2 Sunkens up.
Yes, and also, another thing to know about rxdg in this game so far, I did not see a single Dragoon produced at all.
Yeah, there's 2 coming out of this base now, but they are very, very late. So
right.
He's actually lost a lot.
I mean, up to this point, these were all melee units, except for Archons.
Yeah, so those Archons are actually doing quite a lot of damage to the Hydralisks that are trying to run past. He could have actually turned around and sniped them. Sigrun is going up to Lurkers now. 3 or 4 of them actually morphing at their natural.
Yep.
And that's going to dissuade rxdg from actually pushing in, as they don't actually have any observers over there yet. No robotics either.
And high tech is up for Vigamox. There's some useless damage happening at the third base at 12 o'clock.
And they are very well spread as well, so Sigrun is very well prepared for the Corsair that's eventually going to come in. But there's so few Corsairs that they can actually fight against this. They are going to stack up and another Corsair comes in, so this is dangerous. They do pull back, but they're pulling back towards their Scourge. So another Corsair does actually go down. rxdg's one of his biggest mistakes this game is losing so many of his Corsairs. That's put him in a very bad position.
You know, this reminds me of a SKT Protoss player, Best, which is known for losing so many Corsairs, actually. Corsairs.
Yeah, the difference is with Best, though, is Best may lose his Corsairs, but then he suddenly has an army out of nowhere. And rxdg, while they do have a very powerful army, they are low on bases. I mean, it's fairly even still, purely on the basis that Sigrun only has their 4th base up just now. They're getting a macro hatchery there. They've got a few Mulisks and a few Hydralisks, but it's going to have a lot of trouble against this army coming out from rxdg. The Lurkers on the ramp are going to do
Is there any observers right now
damage.
For the Protoss army?
Not yet. The observatory is just finished. So he's actually built a shuttle out of his robotics to start with.
But these Lurkers could buy time for Vigamox. This is a scary army I'm seeing here. This is a big, scary
the big
ball
thing
of
is,
Protoss.
you can have a lot of Lurkers, but that's a lot of Storm. And if rxdg plays his Storms right, he's actually going to get a lot of damage done on the Lurkers without even needing the observers.
On that army.
And this is going to be a very dangerous position for Sigrun to actually push up in. They're all going to funnel up on the ramp. A huge storm goes down, killing about 10 Hydralisks. And although he's salvaging the army from both sides, the storms are going to be incredible. Another storm goes down on the ramp, and these overlords are floating in.
The Protoss army is flanked in some ways, but the storms, very nice storms happening by rxdg, taking down a lot of Hydralisks left and right.
rxdg is definitely going to take out the 5th base. He doesn't actually have too many ground units.
He doesn't have any reinforcements coming in. That's a problem.
The amount of energy he's got in his High Templars gives him at least 5 or 6 storms. So no matter how few units he has, he can just storm for days.
We do see
rxdg. The Zerglings are trying to get that snipe down. He actually storms his own High Templars, which is going to give the Hydralisks the ability to actually kill them. They kill one of the High Templars just as it's about to go into Archon form as well.
I do see 2 observers that's between somewhere, but all that army could have been savaged if rxdg sent a reinforcement army, which he did not. He just have tons of Dragoons happening at the natural. What are those Dragoons doing? Are they blocked by that one Dragoon by the cannon?
I think they are. The big problem is there's also that probe as well. It looks like a few of them have tried to muddle their way through the probe line to get out. But now rxdg has gone from a very strong position to a very weak one. He does have this shuttle that did go out. It did a storm drop, which did kill a lot of drones in the main for Sigrun, but Sigrun is on 4 bases still. They have quite a big bank. They are supply blocked again, where another Overlord just died. But their army is going to be a lot stronger now. Just Dragoons against Protoss is asking for trouble, and losing that many High Templars is very dangerous.
Yeah, that was a very expensive investment to be lost.
And now look, we've got the Dragoons out. They are going to take out these Lurkers, but these Lings are going to run straight up. The Lings are on 1-1 against the 2 attack. They're going to be forced to pull back. But as soon as Sigrun decides to make a big army and push, they're going to have no trouble pushing into these Dragoons. If Sigrun can manage to snipe this observer, there's not going to be anything these Dragoons can really do on their own. Interestingly, Sigrun has still got the Mutalisk down in the bottom corner. They've actually got a lot of kills on them, most likely from just probes. And it looks like Sigrun's going to go for a flank. They're going to push up towards the natural, possibly take out this possible 4th base over here. It's going to force all the Dragoons back away from the army of Sigrun and away from the bases, which is exactly what Sigrun needs to do. Pull the Protoss around and just stop them expanding.
Yes, Sigrun did really well preventing that Protoss to gain his 4th base. The main base, the main is almost mined out, so he really has to get another base up soon. Whereas the third, Vigamox or Sigrun is getting a 5th base up at 6 o'clock position.
Yeah, so the Protoss army's got a bit scary again. Sigrun's army is very fragmented around the map. They've not really got to a point where they're in one big ball. They haven't really gone for too many counterattacks. The 3rd base of Protoss is very, very badly defended. If they use some of their defilers up there, I'm not sure if Swarm is ready yet. Maybe actually...
Oh, there is a drop happening right now. Lurkers, Zerglings, and a defiler is in that drop. And
yeah, so that's actually, there goes the Swarm. It's going to stop the cannon, and this is going to kill a lot of probes unless Crispy, I didn't say Crispy Drone, rxdg reacts accordingly. They're going to transfer their probes away to this extra base, but if Sigrun was on top of it, he could actually push in.
This is kind of huge for Vigamox. Bad loss for oversight for rxdg on that 3rd base. If he still had those Corsairs, if only he had those Corsairs, he could have positioned them on the 3rd base perhaps to see
intercept any drops.
Yeah, to intercept any overlords.
Now this is an interesting push in. All of these Zerg units are very heavily pumped. They're going to pull back. A storm is dodged slightly, but another storm will go down. Swarm is going to do
really nice storms still going on though.
Down.
These are really nice storms, but there is Plague! The first Plague I have seen in like 2 years of my casting! I could never be more happy whenever I see Plague.
You should play Terran on ladder, or Zerg on ladder, I guess. Protoss on ladder. Then you'll see Plague all the time.
Perhaps one day.
Yeah, I mean, Sigrun is still in a very good position. They're on 3 mining bases to the 2 of rxdg. rxdg hasn't retransferred his probes, so he has got more probes than he needs on his 4th base. Right. But he does have still quite a strong army. There's not too much defense here.
Oh, that observer just got sniped again.
Yeah, the observer was sniped, which pushes him back. There's no lurkers on this ridge at the bottom, so this could mean he could push in here.
I mean, this is a nice mix of Protoss army. There is possibly maybe over a bit number of Dark Templars than necessary, because I see here 6 Dark Templars.
Yeah, so it's probably to do the extra damage to the Zerglings. There's only one lurker defending here. The Nidus Canal is actually very far forward.
And Ultralists are out with the defense tech as well.
Yeah, so Ultralists left, but outside of the Nidus Canal, there is actually a storm, so everything that pops out is dying. A huge Zergling run-by's gone to the cannons. For some reason, he's actually run past his own Dark Swarm. He puts down another one, but the Zerglings aren't actually
also,
covered,
look at 9 o'clock position. Look at the 9 o'clock position. We have Zerglings just wrecking all those probes! The poor probes, they're all being destroyed.
Probes couldn't evacuate in time. That Nexus actually does go down.
It does go down.
Puts rxdg down to 1 base.
1 mining base at 12. Yes.
Against the 3 fully saturated bases of Sigrun.
And Sigrun, Sigrun or Vigamox has a 3 o'clock base, middle 6 o'clock base, and the 2 bases below. Well, the one in the natural is almost mined out, but the bottom left, bottom right. So that's 3 full mining bases compared to Protoss' 1 mineral-rich base at this moment.
Yeah, and rxdg is low minerals, so he's going to have a very hard time coming back in this. He is trying to rebuild that Nexus in the 9 o'clock position, but it looks like Sigrun has had enough. They've weakened the army enough, and they're going to push across.
And they're on the move right now. The Zerg, the Protoss rxdg has a army. He needs to defend the 12 o'clock position. That's his last resource mining base.
Last bastion of hope for rxdg is actually going down. All his probes have now died. The army comes in behind a huge plague hit.
More plague! And
some of the probes are already damaged, but without any mining bases, a huge storm goes down again, which will clear up the majority of this army. But without a mining base, or without any probes, he's going to have a lot of trouble. He only has 4 probes in his natural. and an extra one in his main. So he's going to have a very high hill to climb to come back. Another huge swarm of Zerglings running straight across the map to finish off the little remainder of this Protoss force.
And there's the game.
There is game. Now,
did I see a GG?
I don't know if that's the bug where GG doesn't appear in the replay. If you type it and leave quick enough, it won't appear. I'm gonna believe that rxdg played said GG. He is fairly mana whenever I played him on Shield Battery, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But an incredibly well played PvZ, especially from the Zerg side.
Yeah.
And that actually does put the multitasking rookies back in the game. It's now 2-1 and autoplay 4.
There was a GG's.
Yeah,
I was
so
told.
yeah, people in chat are saying there was a GG, so that's...
But that was a very, very incredible ZVP compared to the last incredible PvZ. So, a very, very interesting twist we see here. Both players did really well, though, I believe.